It's a beautiful time of year. Love is in the air. You can tell. You see people smiling at each other for no reason. This is the time of year where you look over at somebody and it's sunny out, and so they look back at you and you both smile. It's not like December. December, you look at somebody and they look you in the eyes and you can tell that they're like, what? But this is a very sweet time. You see all these people getting married. We're getting into wedding season and stuff. In New York, it seems, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are getting married. And I've never seen a wedding that had this much sleuthing to it. Like this is genuinely wild. Apparently they're going to get married at Madison Square Garden, which already implies you have an extensive guest list. That's like the only billionaire wedding I've seen people get excited about, that they like want to know more about. Like Bezos got married around this time that I was here last year, and he was getting married on like a super yacht, and people were like, oh, I hope it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? Like details about the wedding kept coming out, and they were like, ooh, it'd be a shame if it, I mean, I'm not gonna do anything, but maybe God will, do what's right. And apparently they're building a castle inside Madison Square Garden. Yeah, apparently they're gonna build a castle for the wedding to be in Madison Square Garden. I've never planned a wedding. But if I went to anybody and they were like, I want a castle, I'd be like, ooh, this might be a touch much. You know, because people forget Taylor Swift's like a billionaire because she doesn't give the billionaire vibes. Usually a billionaire is like off-putting to look at. I'm just speaking on the most famous billionaires that we have. Like the billionaires that if I say their name, you know them, you wouldn't just be surprised they were getting married. You would be like, someone lets you touch them? Like that's the general vibe. Like if I was like, oh, Elon's getting married at Madison Square Garden, you're like, ugh, okay, sure, right? But then also thinking about, like, when you look at Elon, you don't look at someone, I don't know, it's surprising he has children, is what I'll say. That's the nicest way to put what I clearly mean. It is an odd reality to live in, where that man has several children by different women. Like, that's also insane. But yeah, there's a level of fame that I imagine must be somewhat difficult. And I know people go like, oh, boo-hoo, they're famous and they're rich. And it's like, sure, but I think that there can be times where you would like to just have a regular moment, and that becomes impossible because you reach a level of fame where you're known all over the world. And with being known all over the world, most people are normal people that'll just be maybe a little bit excited if they see you, or they'll just notice that they saw you, right? Like there are a lot of people who would say, oh, you know what's crazy? I think I saw Taylor Swift leaving this hotel, whatever. And then they move on with their lives. But then with that sort of attention comes an economy of people who are not normal, who are excited to exploit you, or who are trying to engage with you in some way to get some of that attention off of you and onto them, or to just sell the amount of attention that they got from you, right? I don't really have these problems, and I'm not saying that I want them at all, Like I did Jimmy Kimmel's show a while back, and I was there the same night as J-Lo. Same night as J-Lo. And so I was like, oh, I might meet J-Lo. That'd be crazy, And I don't know much of J-Lo's like music or movies, or I've seen some of all of it, Like you know what I mean? Like I'm not like a J-Lo head like that. Like I'm not like, oh, it's happening. I'm more just like, oh, that'd be really cool if we passed by in the hallway and I could be like, hey, I'd like the one where you were with Matthew McConaughey. That was fire. You know? But the thing about it is, like, you show up, and when I showed up to Kimmel's studio, I was in a car, and there were paparazzi there, and then there were also just fans of the show and of J-Lo, I'm assuming, there with like things for J-Lo to sign and stuff, and people were taking pictures. And I get out of the car, and they definitely thought, I didn't tell them this, but they definitely thought I was gonna be J-Lo. They were positive I was about to be J-Lo. They could just feel it in their bones, this must be J-Lo's car. And so then I open the door and I get out, and to hear a crowd in unison go, oh! It definitely lets you know how famous you actually are. But so many people are getting married this summer. You even saw that couple. You saw that couple climb the Empire State Building. What is it with New York right now? What is in the water? This couple climbed to the top of the Empire State Building, and like the actual top, like the antenna, like where it ends. The most dangerous part to climb is what they climbed. I just want to stress this. So they climbed the Empire State Building, and they let this flag loose. And the flag said, when the power of love beats the love of power, the world will know peace. And there were like 5, yeah, sure, yeah. There were like 5 minutes there where people were wondering what this was about, because this is not something that happens every day. You may have a flag on you, you may have a message that you want to get out, but climbing the Empire State Building doesn't occur to most people. Activists or not. Even if you suggested it, they'd be like, maybe like a YouTube banner or something. And so then no one really knew what it was about. Some people thought maybe it was some sort of like protest of the administration. Some people thought it was specifically some sort of ICE protest or something. And then they climb back down, not all the way down, just down to the almost top of the top. They climbed to right below the antenna, and then one of the climbers proposed to the other climber. And, you know, she clearly said yes, jumping around, hugging and everything. And I wasn't in New York when it happened, but I can gather from social that everyone saw that and went, ugh. Because it quickly went from a potentially ambiguous political statement to like, oh wait, did y'all climb just for everyone to see your proposal? Like, some of my friends were so mad. Some of my friends were so mad because they plan on proposing this year. I'm not gonna say which friends, but I have a couple friends plan on proposing this year, and they were like, oh! That's not fair. Because you gotta understand, every proposal that seems even slightly accessible becomes a competition with your proposal. So now there are dudes that are like, I gotta outdo the top of the Empire State Building. Because here's the thing, you can go to what they call the top of the Empire State Building. You can do that on a tour. You just go up in the elevator, and they'll give you a tour, and they'll be like, hey, here's the history of the building. Isn't this so fascinating? And then you can get to the top. It's not the top, but it's like the observation deck, right? And there have been people who have proposed at the observation deck. And so I can only imagine if there was somebody who got up that morning and was like visiting New York City, you know? Like, it's a beautiful summer and everything. Sunny outside. I planned something for us, babe. And then she's all excited. She's like, you planned? Yeah, I planned something for us. And then he doesn't even tell her what it is. He's like, just get in the taxi. Let me whisk you away. And then they get to the Empire State Building. She's like, oh, I've always wanted to go. Oh, this is amazing. I've always wanted to do this. And you know, we're from a state that's flat, so we can't. I can't even imagine how high it is up there. And then they start, taking the pictures, because you can take a picture as soon as you get in there that they give you later. It's almost like a ride. And then they take that elevator up to the observation deck. Maybe he even paid extra to go to the top part that they don't tell you about when you go to the top, and just a little extra top, They get that VIP experience, and then they're standing there, and she's like, wow, look, that's Central Park. Look, that's our hotel. It's so low. Look, the sky. Feel like I could touch it. And then he's like, yeah, this is the moment. Because the thing about a proposal that, you want to remember it forever. And maybe those thoughts are going through his head. Like, just when you see how excited she is and how happy he's making her just by having a plan. Just like a single. How happy she is. He's like, yeah, this is it. She's the one. She's absolutely the one for me. I can't believe I got so lucky. And then, he reaches in his pocket. And then he hears a scream. He hears a scream because someone has noticed a couple climbing the antenna. To the top of the tip of the Empire State Building. And he's like, uh-oh, is that a terrorist? Because they were wearing black, they had their faces masked up, that's some terrorism. Okay, well, in case something happens, maybe I should do it now anyway. And then he sees them unfurl that banner, and it says, the power of love beats the love of power, the world will know peace. And he's like, oh, okay, so not terrorism, all right. Wonderful, wonderful. We can remember this moment because we'll be like, hey, remember the time that those two protesters were like, and then we were like, that's us, we love each other more than we love, but we don't have any power. And just as he's about to kneel, he hears another scream because one of the climbers just proposed. He couldn't have thought that they were going to propose when he was going to propose, or else he probably would have been watching them like fall. Come on, it's windy. Yep. I saw the foot slip. Come on, fall. But then that guy kneels down and he sees him propose to her, and he had to be thinking in his head, why couldn't it have just been terrorism? This is... Yeah, my buddy went to propose. He's a little older, and so when he went to get down on that one knee, the hip and the knee clicked at the same time. He was over here. She heard all 6 clicks on the way. And then my man proposed, and she said yes, and knelt down and kissed him, and then was jumping for joy. But now he really locked in. whole rest of the night, he was over here sitting on the bar stool like this, like. I think back to when I moved to Chicago, and when I was in Chicago, I was pretty broke and everything, so I would just go to shows that were as cheap as possible. Like there was a show that was $5 to get in, okay? And the show was like an improv show. It was very fun. It was a really good time. But then we're all sitting, hanging out after the show at the end, and it's a table of us, like 6 people, all strangers, and I didn't know anybody, so I was very happy to try to make some friends and everything, and everyone was just sitting around the table. A couple people were having a drink, and this one woman prompted us. She was like, hey, let's go around the table and tell a story. Everybody will tell a story about your worst ever second date. Because here's the thing, this is what happens, right? You will go on a date, and usually people talk about their bad first dates. Usually it's all like, oh, they showed up and they were, the devil. And so I was like, oh, you weren't the devil in your profile. It feels like you catfished me because you're like a demon, and you didn't say anything about that when we were meeting up or when we were chatting, so. But in this scenario, it was like, what was a date you went on that was good, and then you went on the second date, and that was so bad it made you question reality from the first date. And somehow everyone at the table had a bad second date story. Everyone had a story of like, they were so lovely when we first met, and then the next time I saw them, they were like very rude to the server. They were just like, I couldn't tell if they were in a bad mood or if they were really this person, and they just put on a face for the first time. And then this one woman at the table told us a story so insane that it made me question if I had really lived an interesting life at all. This woman told us a story about first date she went on. They meet up, and he really takes her on the town. He took her to a couple of really nice places in Chicago, like beautiful movie theater, but also the dinner was like this clearly high-priced, like fine dining experience with courses and everything. And he was really interesting to talk to, and they had a lot of the same interests and everything. It was just a wonderful first date. And so he even said to her, he was like, you know what? If I'm being honest with you, after the night that we've had, this is like it for me. Like, I really like you, and I just want you to know that I like you. I don't want you to walk away from this date having any doubt in your mind that I really like you. And she said that was really refreshing to hear because, people can play things close to the chest, or they can worry about getting hurt, and so then they can be coy and everything. But he was just saying it. And so a few days later, after some chatting, he asked her on a second date. And this date was going to be, he had planned it all out, it was going to be at his house. And it was going to be at his house like late afternoon, so. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a 2 a.m. come on over. It was going to be late afternoon at his house, and she shows up and knocks on the door, and he doesn't answer. One of his friends answers, since the whole party. And it's at that point where she's like, oh, maybe he's invited me to like a barbecue, because she can see like people outside in the backyard like drinking through the glass and stuff, and like a grill going and everything. And so she walks in, and the guy's like, oh, you must be Polly. And she was like, yeah, I'm Polly. And she's like, where's Steven? That's the guy. And she was like, I was here to meet Steven. He's like, yeah, okay. Well, Steven's around here somewhere, but I'll see if I can go find him for you. And so this is her first time at his place, and so she doesn't even know where to go next. And then this woman walks up to her and gives her a big hug, and it's Steven's mom. It's Steven's mom, and And she says as much. She's like, oh, it's so lovely to meet you. Steven's told me all about you and everything. And she was like, oh, okay. And she said, when she was at the table with us, it was the first time she ever hoped that someone lived with their parents, because then that would at least make meeting the mother so quickly make sense. And she was like, oh, let me introduce you to Donald. And so she quickly met his dad right after. And she sees a little setup. There's a grill in the back, and there's a little setup. And she can't quite tell what it is, but there's like 12 chairs and a couple tables near the grill. And I think she's in such disbelief that she can't put it together right away. But basically, Steven, for their second date, planned a wedding. And you have to understand, we're all sitting around the table sharing like bad second date stories. You know, and plenty of people are like, yeah, you know, the second time I met them, they were so rude. I was like, is this even the same person? And then she was like, yeah, Because the thing that she opened the story with initially when she was telling us about her worst second date ever was that she got arrested. And so even at this point in the story, I was like, when did you get arrested? Also, as soon as you realized what was happening, why didn't you leave immediately? And she was like, I was so shocked. I didn't know what to do next. And like, he had planned this whole thing, and I was so surprised. And I was like, please don't tell me you stayed in that house to just not be rude. I don't know what we need to do. I don't know as a society what we have to do. Ladies, if someone plans a whole wedding you didn't know about, you're well within your rights to leave that house. This is wild. And then she, you know, she was standing there shocked because not that many people were talking to her, but a couple people were looking, whispering and everything, and she was talking to the parents and stuff. And then finally, the buddy that answered the door comes back, and he's like, hey, Steven's upstairs if you want to go talk to him. And she was like, oh, yeah, I want to go talk to him. She goes up the stairs, knocks on Steven's door, and he's like, come in. And when she opens the door, he's holding a dress. And she's like, what is going on? What is happening right now? And he's like, what? You don't like it? I planned everything. I don't know the point at which you realize you're dealing with someone who is not from this planet. Liking it is not the issue at all. And she was like, we went on one date. And this man said, and it was magical. And before you have any sympathy for Steven, in case you were working on some of that, apparently, she said that, you know, she found this out after. Apparently, this dude had been like telling his family about someone, but not giving them enough detail. He had just been hyping up his family around the idea that he was getting married soon. But then he finally went on a date with Polly, and he was like, yep, this is the one. In case you were worried that he was in any way sane. And so then she was like, I can't do this. Like, this is wild. Why would you plan a wedding and not tell me? And I don't know you. I also don't know you. Like, because sometimes people who have lost it will then get you arguing from a platform you shouldn't be standing on. And she's like, I don't even know you enough to marry you. He's like, yes, but I think I love you. And she's like, you said think. And she was like, I can't do this. And he was like, come on, you can't leave. I planned this whole thing. Everyone will be so disappointed. And she was like, okay. And then, you know, rejection's hard. Even when you totally should be rejected by every metric of logic. But then he gets mad. He's like, come on now. I thought that we had something special. You know, I told them so much about you. And she turned and she was like, what? He's like, I told them so much about you, you know, like everything that you told me and more. And she was like, what do you mean more? And he was like, yeah, you know, like after our date, it just, everything went so well. I looked you up online. I was telling everybody about, you know, like. And then this is what she told us, she did push him out the window. And so then that. Just imagine that dude laying there in a stretcher, getting carted off by an ambulance, like, so it's a no? Oh. Yeah. Because it's very difficult to know how much a couple's love is like a performance and how much of it is sincere. And it's not for me to know. I'm not in it with them. But just sometimes, I don't know, you'll be scrolling and you'll see a picture of two people and it's like nice. But then you see a carousel of them that they're all hugging, kissing, everything. It's like, nah, y'all fight. Nah, I can tell. I can tell from the way this picture was taken that one, is not the first take, and two, y'all argued why you were making this carousel. There's no way you have it. Now, I even had a conversation once with someone. I was taking a bus, and the bus was delayed. And there's a layer of not personal space, but there's just a layer in your mind of like, I'm in my own little bubble when I'm traveling that breaks once there's something to bemoan together. Like, you could go on a long bus ride and not talk to anybody, but if the bus is delayed for 6 hours, eventually you're going to turn to somebody and be like, this is ridiculous, and then that might spark a conversation. Huh? My bus was delayed for 10 hours, and so we were all talking to each other and everything, and I had this conversation with someone, and it truly blew my mind. They said that they were coming back from a wedding where the bride did like a run. Yeah, like really jilted the groom right there. And like right there during the like actual holding hands, like the most important part, the part where you're like 99% married. You know the part where it's like almost done. And the reason that she did it was the night before at the bachelor party, the groom was, you know, dancing with his friends, and they had rented out this entire like sort of ballroom setup, right? And so he and his friends were making like a big show of the karaoke. So it was like some of them were sitting in the audience, some of them were on stage, but it was like a proper stage. It was like pretty high. And he got really drunk, and then when he was singing and dancing, he tripped and he fell off of the stage onto one of the speakers. And he had knocked out his 4 front teeth. When it comes to teeth, your front are the most important. Your front are the ones that are the main attraction, you know? Like when you see the first 4 teeth, you're like, he has teeth. Like when someone smiles and you see the first 4 teeth, you're like, that no matter the size of the mouth, I can tell teeth are partying in there. And if you're missing the first 4, it throws all others into question. Because here's the thing, 1 missing tooth in the front is an interesting story. 1 missing tooth in the front, it's like, oh, what happened? Like, bar fight? 2 front teeth is clearly an issue. Something happened, but, you know, you get by on personality. 3 missing front teeth is like, ooh, did those just never come in? Because that, once you get to odd numbers, you may want to do something about that. 4 missing front teeth might as well be all your teeth. First 4 teeth cover a lot of surface area of the mouth. And so he knocked out his 4 front teeth. And, you know, it's bad luck to see the bride before the wedding. And so she walked down the aisle, and, you know, she looked beautiful, so he wasn't smiling, he was crying. He was over here tearing up. I'm so lucky, you know. And then she gets up there, and she had heard about the accident. They told her that he fell and he had hurt himself, but he was going to be okay for the wedding. But she was standing there, you know, just over here, standing, waiting to start her new life with her husband. And then the priest asked the first question, you know, do you take? And he said, I do, but the way his teeth came out and the construction of his mouth, it did have a little whistle to it. It did have a, you know, like, I do, and so she ran, she left. Which is devastating. Her friend was saying, she asked her, like, why do you love him, right? And she was like, yeah, but in that moment, I just couldn't imagine, like, raising kids that didn't have their 4 front teeth and, like, and her friend was like, but he had the teeth. The teeth got knocked out. Why do you think because the teeth came out that the new kids just wouldn't have teeth? That's not how teeth work at all. Actually, I should back up. I forgot to tell you the story that I told about my worst ever second date. One thing, I'm not big on, like, policing how other people say things. But if you're gonna say, don't you hate when, make sure that thing is something that commonly happens. I went on a date, and first date was fine. You know, it was good. We were getting to know each other. I think we were both a little nervous and everything. I can be a bit quiet, and, you know, it was dinner, so we mostly chewed. And so we don't even know enough about each other to know if it's, like, working or not. So we went on this second date. And on the second date, she was like, don't you hate it when? And then proceeded to tell me a story that I had never heard before or since. She said, don't you hate it when your dad is, like, leaving for work, and then he backs up the car and hits your dog? and then pulls the car forward, gets out, sees they hit the dog, puts the dog in the trunk, and then comes home with a different dog. Ma'am, excuse me? So much has happened in like 3 sentences. So wait. Your dad hit your dog. And sadly, it seems, killed the dog. Then put the dog in the trunk. And then left and went to work. And then came home with a new dog that he wanted you to believe was the dog. And you saw all this play out, and she was like, yeah, I was like, look, you know, sometimes I'd watch him leave if, you know, I was a little kid, and so I'd miss him when he would go to work, and so I watched him out the window, which is how I knew he hit the dog. And I was like, and you said, don't I hate it when, as if that happened to me too, though. As if I've also had that same experience as you, which I think no one has experienced. Like, plenty of people, that does happen. Plenty of people have accidentally backed up on a pet or something like that. But then to come home, did he go to work? Like, could he have even gone to work? Because here's the thing, this stuck with me. As soon as she told me the story, that man, there's no way he went to work. He had to immediately gone to every shelter possible to find the right dog that looked the same, and then spend the work day teaching that dog its name. Because if you tell me that the dog named Sparky, and then he hit Sparky, and then he put Sparky in the trunk, and then he left, and then he went ahead and got a new Sparky to bring home that he hopes you haven't been paying too much close attention to, like the pattern of the fur or anything. If it looks enough like Sparky, if you bring the dog home and the dog doesn't respond to Sparky anymore, you're gonna be perplexed. You're gonna be like, is he losing his hearing or something? And she answered all my questions. She was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe he did. Maybe he went to a shelter instead of work. And then I never thought about that. I never thought about him training the dog all day to learn its name. I was like, wait, what do you mean? He hasn't told you? What did you ever tell? And she was like, no, he went to all the trouble, so I just acted like it was the same dog. What? She's like, yeah, I just didn't know. I don't know. I didn't know how to call it out. And he already, like, seemed so nervous when he brought Sparky home. I was like, that's not Sparky. Like, that's not even my dog. But I started taking up for the dog. I'm like, no. He did a switch face off on you. It can become Sparky if you want, but that's not Sparky. You just never brought this up. I'm like, nah, I didn't. I don't know. I just didn't feel like it would do any good. And I was like, you didn't, like, tell anyone? You didn't tell your mom or anything? I'm like, no, I was the only one that saw it. So I figured if he could keep a secret, I could keep a secret. And I was like, that's as sweet as it is horrifying. Like, there is a part of me that's like, okay, but then everyone else in the family is left in the dark where they're like, why is our dog suddenly no longer house trained? Like, because I was like, did the new dog act like the old dog? And she was like, no, not really. He actually bit a lot. I was like, wait, no. So you let your family get eaten up by this new dog who doesn't know why. And to be fair, I guess every dog could be like, why are they calling me this name? But you don't even know where this dog came from. Where did he get it? And she's like, yeah, I don't know. But don't you hate when that happens?
Cool. How y'all doing? Everybody good? Sweet. I was reading this this news story from Australia where this woman has finally been charged in connection with the death of 3 people. She's been charged for murder of 3 people who died after they ate lunch at a lunch party she threw. And when they arrested her, she was like, how am I supposed to know what's poison and what's not poison? You know what I mean? Like, it could be anything. Why couldn't the meal be so good that they died? Did anybody think of that? And the more that I read about the story, it was baffling. So it turns out just about everybody at the lunch party were her ex-husband's relatives. So yeah, I think you might have done it. Wow, that's crazy. I know some of y'all out here love staying friends with your exes and stuff, but if I ever have an ex-wife and one day, randomly in July, she's like, how about you and your whole family come and eat a meal I cook while I watch. I'm gonna have to decline on the poisoning. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't care. I don't care what type of apple flavors you make it. You're not killing me, okay? You know. And the only reason the husband is still alive is at the last minute he couldn't make it. So he was also gonna be there, and then he was like, sorry, got held up at work. Then he lived. That feels crazy, you know. They say revenge is a dish best served beef Wellington. And I loved it though, because it was such a weird story. And then imagine your alibi being like, y'all know I can't cook. Like, what is your plan here, man? You all ever have that person in your life that's like the dumbest person you know? Like, just top to bottom, you're like, how are you still alive? You know what I mean? You just won't even understand how they function. You know, it's like, you made it this far, and yesterday couldn't have been easier than today. How do you keep racking up days consecutively? I know a dude that, I won't even call him a friend. I know a dude that is the most unsuccessful drug dealer I've ever met in my life. This is absolutely astounding. How do you fail at selling drugs to people who very much want drugs? Like, they would like drugs very much until they meet you. That is crazy. What kind of bad vibes are you putting out that someone on crack is like, you know what? I'll wait. That's insanity. How'd you take the urgency out of drugs? It's truly wild. I've never seen anything like it. He honestly cleaning up the streets. Everybody he tries to sell to don't want it. I'm like, you making the neighborhood safer by the day. You really need to work for the DARE program or the police. Somebody where you can make money by being bad at what you do. It's astounding. I told him, I was like, you need to do something else with your life. This is clearly not your calling, all right? You know, because when you're good at selling drugs, if you're good enough, they'll make movies about you, they'll make TV shows about you. His movie would be 8 minutes. It would be him haggling for the price of meth with somebody and then them being like, you know what, keep it, and then just walking away. I told him, I was like, you need to do something else, and he got all defensive. You know, he was like, you putting it all on me. It's not all me, you know? This dude actually said to me, he's like, can I borrow a couple dollars till I get paid? I'm like, there's no payroll. Like, you sell drugs and you'll be paid. I'm not giving you money, because then you'll literally have to pay me back with drug money. That's insane. Now I'm part of the operation. I don't want to have anything to do with this. He's always so defensive, like, you putting it all on me. It's not all me, okay? It's this economy. I'm like, no, you don't get to say that. No one smoking crack is saving up for a house. It's devastating. I also had, okay. Y'all know what the ick is, right? Okay, in case you don't know what the ick is, in case you don't have TikTok, the ick is when you are infatuated with someone. You really like them, and then they do something. It's usually something innocuous, something that's very particular, and then it just turns you off. You lose that infatuation, and hence the ick. You don't want to be with them anymore. Like if you went on a date with someone, and then on the date they were eating, and they were like slurping their soup extra hard, and now you don't want to be with a whole person because they use their mouth. You know what I mean? Like. Everyone always talks about what their ick is, you know, or what they don't like, what gave them the ick, but nobody ever talks about being the ick. Have you noticed that? It's like it's always about what bothers me. It's never people just admitting that they did something. Like I'll be vulnerable for a second. I've been the ick before. And there's nothing like watching yourself be the ick in the woman's face. It's the saddest, it's genuinely horrible, because it's like, once again, I'm not a bad person. I'm not doing anything crazy or gross. I'm just, I did whatever I did, and now we both like, oh, yeah. I'll give you some examples. I used to live in Chicago, right? And when I lived there, I was, my life was not great. I don't know, I was very broke. I remember I had gone on this date, and the date was fantastic. We had a great time. She even came back to my place. We're sitting on my bed. She's clearly going to spend the night. It's definitely about to happen. But I had work in the morning, so I just wanted to make sure that I had set my alarm for work and that I plugged my phone in so it didn't die, right? But the way that my bed was, the plug for the outlet was slightly behind the bed, okay? So now I'm trying to reach and plug it in, but I'm also trying to maintain this eye contact, this vibe that we have going. So now I'm trying to plug it in, but I'm not looking and I can't find it, right? And so I'm just watching her slowly get more and more disappointed as I'm trying to plug this in, and I can't, and I'm talking my game too. I'm like, I'm about to tear it up, girl. One second, you about to get it. At one point, I think I even said, "Come on!" And it just killed the vibe. It really did, because you just looking at me, and she didn't say it, but you could see on her face, it's like, you're not too good at plugging stuff into sockets. That's not good foreshadowing, you know what I mean? I think let's just watch a movie or something. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to get my confidence back up, you know? It took me a while to get my life together. And once I did, once I was more put together and I moved my bed, I put myself back out there. And so I went on a first date with this young lady, and we were gonna go to dinner and a movie. And then on the way to dinner, I pushed a pull door, all right? And like, and there's no quicker way to look like you have an iron deficiency in front of a woman than to push a pull door. Because I had overcommitted, because I'm trying to be a gentleman, right? I'm trying to open the door for her, let her walk in first and everything. So I gave a little push. That we were talking, I gave a little push. I was like, maybe it just needs extra pressure. So I leaned into it a little bit more, and when it wouldn't budge, I was like, maybe I need two hands. And so now so now I'm square with the wall, right? And I'm pushing. And then I had pushed so hard that I started slipping. So I was sliding down as I was pushing. And right when my forehead hit the wall, like hit the door, I saw that in little print it said pull. But who puts pull in fine print? That's crazy. And so I opened the door and she walked in. She was sweet. She tried to ignore it and everything. But then it went to the movie and I pulled a push. And like, And like this one, I didn't pull as long as I had pushed the other one, so it wasn't as embarrassing. But it's just like I really tugged hard. Like I didn't put my foot up on it or anything. But I was just like, I tugged hard. Your first date is supposed to be you getting to know a person. You know what I mean? And so now I could tell I gave her the ick because we were having a good time outside of those two situations. But then she was like, in her mind, I think maybe she was like, he's sweet, but he don't understand doors. And it's like, how do you? And it was embarrassing, but it's like, and I don't know if I should bring it up and address it or if I should just let it go or something. But she saw it both times, like she was waiting to get in, like. So it's not like something she could just ignore. So now, and I wanted to be like, look, I understand. I got a door in my room, like that's. But then she was looking at me after like when we went in the movie, like the rest of the day, she was looking at me like I was slow, and then I was like, I got a door in my room, which does make me sound slow. Like just, I got a door in my room, like that sounds crazy because it's like, am I talking about a closet or am I talking about the door to my room? And it's just, it was devastating. And I get it. Like, I understand from her perspective, because she doesn't want to be out here dating somebody that she gotta look out for. Like, I get close to a door and she gotta be like, it's an innie. Like, so I get it, you know? The worst one, absolute worst one was months later. Okay, so I used to work at a grocery store, right? And I was working one day and I slipped on some Rogue juice. And so it was some spill in the aisle. I slipped on juice and I fell on my hip. And I fell like that. You know when somebody take like an old fall, like like that fall where you like grandpa got one left, like that's. It was like that level fall because I fell on pure hip. It was like hip bone, right? And so I was all bruised up and hurting and everything, and I was like limping for some of the day. And then as I was healing up, because I didn't have health insurance, so when you don't have health insurance, you like, I think I just live like this now. You know what I mean? Like because by the next day I was healing up, but my hip was clicking, right? And so it would click whenever I would walk, and when I would sit down, that was 3 clicks right there. And so it was clicking nonstop. And I didn't have health insurance, so I was like, I think I'll just click now. I think that's just a part of who I am as a person. And so fast forward a couple days later, I'm still hurt, I'm still clicking and everything, but I've been seeing someone. And this was going to be the first time that we hooked up, and so we're about to have sex, and then we start having sex, and I'd gotten so used to the clicks that I wasn't really thinking about them anymore, right? And I had been healing up, so I was like, maybe I don't even click like that. But then we started, and I didn't realize I click on the in and the out. Like I'm clicking nonstop, and it's loud too. It's so loud because I didn't put on any music, so there's no Miguel, there's no R&B to hide behind. It's just the clicks is all you can hear in the room. And I left my bathroom door open, so now I'm getting click echo because it'll click in the room and click in the bathroom, and there's a click back, right? And I'm trying to put in work, so I'm sounding like a horse on cobble. Like I'm like truly nonstop because I'm really trying. I'm trying to make a good impression. This is our first time hooking up, so I'm like nonstop. And so then she trying to act like she don't hear. She trying to be polite and everything. She's like, ooh, okay, but she can clearly hear it, you know. And then I'm getting self-conscious, so now I start clicking off rhythm, you know what I mean? It's like, which is just making it worse because it's like it's already bad that you clicking, but if you clicking on the 1 and the 3, everybody knows that this is bad. You know what I mean? And so then I was like, she was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. How you doing? How's it for you? And she was like, we should talk. And I was like, all right, that's never good. And then we sat down. She's like, are you like okay? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fine. I just fell. It was some Rogue juice in the aisle. And I fell, and then she was like, well, how about we try me on top? And so we did, and then that did not help at all, because now it was just, it was louder clicks because there was more pressure, right? So now it was like, it felt like it was her clicks, you know what I mean? Like now she sounded like a full Paul Revere, right? Like, because she was riding me, but she's also like non-stop, and it was devastating. It was so bad, and that's the only person that's ever ghosted me where I was like, I understand. I get it. I think I even texted her afterwards, like, hey, I understand. Like a month after she stopped hearing my text message, I just texted her one last time, like, I understand. Like, it was horrible. I don't know if y'all saw the news, but the orcas are at it again. Orcas, if you haven't seen it, the orcas, killer whales, are out here sinking yachts. They just ramming the yachts until they sink and everything. And who would have thought that the orcas would be the ones to step up? Like, yeah, I mean, like, rich people just be rich in our faces all the time on land, and then they went into the water, and the orcas were like, not my hood, dog. Like, crazy. I wish orcas had thumbs so bad, just because I would just want them to throw up gang signs with their fins. All day. The most recent one was this yacht that was going through the Strait of Gibraltar, and these orcas attacked it for 45 minutes, which must be terrifying, because like I would hate to get killed by an orca, because it's like their echolocation, the noises that they make are so close to dolphins. Like, just imagine you being murdered in the water and all you hear is like, gang, this is terrible. Tearing you up. It's horrific, you know? But they rammed the boat for 45 minutes, and then finally it started to sink. Now, I was reading more about the story, and it turns out there was no rich guy on that yacht. That yacht was just like in transit. So then when it capsized, the crew was who was in danger. But the orcas didn't attack any of the crew. Crew made it out safe, which does make me think even more that this is a money thing. Like, this is, it's gotta be. You had plenty of people right there to chop up and dice on and nibble up, and you didn't. And I'd like to think that like an orca nibbled maybe one of them, it was like, oh, that tastes like work. I need supple. That workman meat too tough. You know what I mean? But y'all been amazing. Thank you so much. I love Christmas time. It's one of my favorite seasons because I love the gift giving. You know, because I'm not good at giving gifts. I'm not. Like, I put a lot of thought into the gift. I think about the person. I think about the gift. I think mostly about what I can afford. And then I get them the gift, and there's nothing more disappointing than their face when they open my gift. Like, it's like, because these are people I love that love me, so they fighting to look at least mildly enthused. Like, the battle they're having in their head to not ask me what I was thinking. You can see the wheels turning where they're like, I don't want to be rude, but now I'm genuinely curious. What was on his mind when he bought this? What would make him think I would like this, right? Like, I remember one time I bought my friend, okay. I bought them like a really nice, and it was expensive. It was very nice, and it was polished, but it was like a polished figurine of an Easter egg. And then they opened it and they were like, oh. Oh is never good, by the way. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if you propose and then you hear, oh, it's about to be no. Like, it's very close. It's coming up. And so I gave them the gift and they were like, oh. And then I felt like I needed to fill the space because they said oh and they didn't say anything else, but I was like, clearly I need to let them know why this is a brilliant gift. And so I was like, because you love Easter. And they were like, oh. And I hadn't been hit with 2 O's in a while. That second O let me know that maybe this is just bad. Maybe they weren't confused. Maybe they've decided they hate this gift. And so I was like, yeah, because you love Easter. That's your favorite holiday. I know it's Christmas, but it's still something to do with Easter now. Like, I got you something rather than waiting to give this to you on Easter. I got you a little bit of Easter in winter. And they were like, you could have got like a crucifix or something. And I was like, yeah, wow. That did not occur to me. I forgot you love Easter because you love the Lord. I just thought holiday egg. Let's make it happen. And so I don't always get the best gifts, which is, fair enough, which is why I love going to other people's Christmases. Like when I was in college, I would get invited to spend the holiday if I didn't go home to visit somebody else and spend Christmas with them or something. And it was nice because I got to watch other people be bad at giving gifts. And it's just nice to not feel alone, I went and had Christmas with my buddy one time, and family was all around, exchanging gifts and stuff. And everybody was bad at giving gifts. It was a holiday miracle. Dad got the mom some gifts, and she opens it, and she lifts it and shakes it a little bit. Oh, it's heavy. It's heavy. Unwraps it, and he got her weights. And she was like, why'd you get me? And in my head, I'm like, go ahead, answer. Please answer. Why'd you get her the weights? Why'd you get them, Stephen? What are the weights for? And you can see the flicker in his eyes where he was like, they were on sale? But it was fair enough because then he opened her gifts. And she got him. Look, you think the weights are bad? This woman bought this man 50 Shades of Grey. If you don't know what 50 Shades of Grey is, it's a book, but the things you think of when you read the book, the pictures it puts in your head are the fantasy. You go to places, And so the idea that she would get this man 50 Shades of Grey, I don't even know what the attack is. I don't even know if she's like, you need to read anything, read more, I don't care what it is, or if it's like, just do the book to me. Like, when is this man supposed to read 50 Shades of Grey at work? Is he just supposed to be in the break room hitting up that 50 Shades of Grey? This man drives a truck. You don't think anybody's gonna ask him? Hey, Stevie, what you reading? Oh no, it's just this book that, my wife got me. This is a rich guy that's like getting involved with this young lady, and I can't tell. She's like, you should read more or do that to me, or I'm done with it. Like, she had also read 50 Shades of Grey, so I'm like, she just didn't get him anything. And then it was my buddy's turn, and I feel like it takes a long time for a child to be good at giving their parent a gift. The first few gifts you give your parents are from other adults. That's just it. It's just like, hey, this beautiful diamond bracelet is from you and me. We're going to give it to your mom together. And then you stand there all proud like, yeah, the diamond bracelet is also from me. With all my 5-year-old disposable income. Do you love it? And then your mom, because your mom loves you, goes, oh, what a beautiful, oh my God. Hugs you all tight and everything, and you feel all proud. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to think of anything. Sometimes you get somebody, when you're little enough, you can get anybody anything, and they at least pretend to love it. When you're like 5, you could draw them a picture. I did that. There was a Christmas where I drew a bunch of people pictures. I can't draw at all. I gave them less than nothing. I wasted their time. I genuinely wasted their time because I wrapped the picture that I drew, and so they had to open it like it was about to be something. And the worst part is that I was like, oh, let me not let it get crinkled up or anything, so I had it in like an envelope with the wrapping paper around it. They probably thought it was going to be a check, anything actually valuable. It was too much work. There was a little bow on it. They had to move the bow. They had to unwrap it. They had to not crinkle it. They had to open up this envelope just to get a picture of them that looked offensive. When I think back to how I drew, there's no way I drew a good-looking person. I drew as best as I could put my hand to the page, and it wasn't good. Everybody's head was out of proportion. But I was little, so they pretended to love it. They were like, oh. And I think some of them did love it. Some of them probably did love it because they loved me. And they were like, oh, this person that used to not even exist, that's so little, so cute, love me so much, they did their best. And that's very sweet, right? But then you get older. And then it's like even more obvious you didn't get the gift. It's like, oh, maybe your dad comes up to you, hey, these earrings, they're from me and from you, okay? Because you were with me when I bought them, and you helped me pick them. And tells your mom, earrings are for us. Earrings are from you? Yeah, they're from me too. With all my 9-year-old disposable income. And I was the one that pointed, so also from me. And then around like 12, 13, it's time to get a gift. Like a genuine, like something. Put in some effort, right? You can't lean in on dad's gift anymore. And now you're on your own, and this is where I really failed. This is where I fell apart, because I was like, okay, what can I afford? I could probably get her some candy. What does she like? All right, she already has a Bible. This is going to be tough, And gift giving is such a skill. Gift giving is its own gift because it means you were like listening for the right moment. You understand a person so well. Sometimes you get a gift that's so bad that people are like, oh, you don't know me at all. Or you got me this gift because you want to show me how little you care about me. You really want to step out of just saying I hate you with words and do it with surprise. Do it with a little mystery to it. Maybe wrap it up, put a bow on it, box it up. And so, they opened my buddy's gifts to them, his parents. Right? And he got his dad a calendar
for the year we were in. That's... Almost all of the calendar had happened. And then he was like, son, there's only a little bit of the year left. You got me a planner for 6 days. And he was like, nah, Dad. All you gotta do is cross out the last number and it'll be a calendar for next year. And he was like, why didn't you buy a calendar for next year? And he was like, they ran out. So I got one for this year. There were plenty of those. And he's like, son, that won't work because the days also change. It won't just work to put, because it'll be a different day of the week when it's that date. Next year is a leap year. Oh, my bad. Okay. I can return it. And then my buddy got his mom a copy of 50 Shades of Grey. And it's like, I was like, do you not know what the book is? In what world? One of the worst gifts I've ever seen somebody give was a cat. This dude got his girlfriend a cat, and it would normally be adorable, right? Except the cat was fully grown and had already decided it hated people. I don't know where he got this cat from, but this cat, first of all, the cat was barely a surprise. They knew it was a cat as soon as he tried to give the cat, because what he did was he tried to put the cat, so you know the crate that you put a cat in? He had the crate, but he had wrapped it, and he had put the little like slits for, you know, the front for air in the thing. But as he's handing her this thing that's way too heavy, he's handing it like this, and inside she can hear, like it's... The cat isn't meowing. The cat is screaming. It's guttural. It's coming from the back of the throat. And then she rips the wrapping paper out of the way. And the cat is like, and then she's like, oh, you got me a kitten, right? As soon as she opens the front, the cat, this cat was amazing, by the way, because it both had agility, but also the most mass I've seen on the cat. This is the fattest cat I've ever seen, but the way that it flew out of the crate past her and was just running in the house, just like, and he's like, oh, you got me a cat, oh my gosh. And then she went to try to pick the cat up, and the cat, okay, for a little while I didn't believe it was a cat. For a little while I thought it was either like an actual like bobcat from the wild or a demon, because the way that she went to pick it up and then it stood up and was like it did, like it was ready to put his paws on her. Like this cat, like it couldn't, I'm not saying it boxed, but I'm just saying like the way it would like almost stand, it would get really high and then it would let that first one come up. And this cat hated everyone and everything. And I was like, did you get the cat from like a shelter, or where'd you get the cat? And he was like, okay, look. Which is never a good pet origin story. He's like, okay, look, the cat crawled up into the hood of my car. Like it It was cold, it wanted to be warm, and so it crawled up. And then when I was pulling the cat out, it just kept coming out. There was so much cat, because it's the biggest cat any of us have ever seen. I was like, it looked like a lion. Like, you can't just give someone a pet like that. Do you know what I mean? A plant, I feel bad enough letting it die. You can't let an animal die. You can't just be like, oh, well, I didn't even mean this one. It shouldn't even be on me because it was a gift. That sounds so crazy, but it's true. It's like you've just given this person duties now. And not a lot of duties. The cat was very fat, and it was clearly a street cat, so it knows how to survive. This cat. I don't know if y'all saw, but a lot of the Amazon workers went on strike today. Like a bunch of them went on strike, yeah. Which I think is phenomenal, not just for workers' rights, but because I low-key have not got anybody anything yet, and like that's. Ooh, when I was like, hey, yeah, give them whatever they want, all right? They should stay out there till January 2nd or something. Genuinely, I was like, oh man, okay, and then that means that things won't get delivered on. We serve a mighty God. We serve. You know? But yeah, the Amazon workers are striking. It's one of the biggest strikes against Amazon ever. I think it is the biggest ever against Amazon. And it's in different places and everything. And it's coming at a time where Amazon needs them desperately. Rest of the year, you could kind of, shirk them off. But this is Amazon promised us Christmas. I hate to burst your bubble in case you still believe, but there is no Santa. Santa is whoever is driving that Amazon truck. And Amazon made a promise. They made a promise through Prime. They made a promise through pre-orders. And, why their reputation stakes on delivering on that promise. And so if the workers strike and they can't get things to the people, maybe the people are like, wow, I put a lot of stake in you, Amazon. Maybe I'm just going to go to Target next time. But Amazon, they claim not to have it. They claim that they don't have the money. If it's laughable to you, then imagine if you work at Amazon. And you just looking around like, oh, so y'all don't have it. The boss went to space. Tell me what you don't have again. Oh, we don't have it. We're not able. We need too many people working at the same time at a pace that's unrealistic because we tried to replace you with robots, but then, the robots killed themselves. Dude, everybody forgets about that. Everybody forgets that when they've tried AI, they've tried to replace the workers in their faces, and the AI, the robot, whatever it is like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna break forever. The robot will do everything except hit itself in the head. That's wild. That's so crazy that you would just tell us you don't even have. That's one of the main things I can't stand about a lot of big companies. And don't get me wrong, right? In the future, you may even see me do like a partnership with a brand that I like. I'm not saying business in and of itself is evil. I'm not saying big business in and of itself has to be evil. I'm just saying the way that some of the most profitable companies in the world have worked is evil, right? And so my thing, especially with Amazon, is that there's always, for you, the customer, there's always surge pricing. There's never, across any company that I know of, outside of overtime, surge pay. That's all you need. If you had just been like, listen, for 3 months, working at Amazon's gonna be the most profitable. It's gonna be the most profitable thing an employee can do. We're gonna pay you 2x, 3x, whatever it takes. Because we also know how much money they made because they tell us. Why would you do that? Why would you go on the news, by the way, to be like, Amazon made a record-breaking whatever billion today on Prime Day, and then tell the people that work there, y'all, we ain't got it. The boss needs to go to space again. No, it's insane. Because it wouldn't do, I don't know, it wouldn't do what companies claim it would do, to pay more, if nothing else, during the seasons that you're asking them to work more. And we can't even begin to fathom the conditions all around that are like in an Amazon warehouse. We hear about them from time to time. People get fired, or they get hurt, or they quit, and then they tell us. And it never gets like fully enveloped all together. One, because there's not enough time. Too many people have been screwed over. It's like, we all know somebody who dated somebody that was like trash, right? Like they dated a bad person. After like the third testimony of dating this person, you're like, I don't even need to hear anymore. This person is undateable. They shouldn't be out. You know, and that's what it should be like with Amazon, but it's like the stories don't get to enough people, and there are people that are like, oh, I got docked pay for going to the bathroom. What they want me to do, you know? Or I got hurt at the warehouse because everybody's trying to meet these like specific time-stamped goals, and if they don't meet them, they might get fired, and this is the job that they have. This is how they're gonna pay their rent for the time being to make ends meet, so they're pushing the cart extra fast, not looking where they're going. They run over somebody's foot, they drop a box on somebody's head, and then there's a whole system in place. Instead of making a system to make it safer, instead of making a system to pay people more, or instead of making a system that just functions better, there's a whole system in place for when things go wrong. So that way, they don't have to pay people out, or they don't have to. You would rather hire a lawyer to come up with the type of NDA that when someone dies at work, their family can't sue, than to just do things the right way, you know? Because we've decided that it's like more profitable to be a bastard. I mean, but like, and I guess my thing is this: at a certain point, the fact that it like no money is enough, right? The fact that there's no number, you can't get higher than space. Do you know what I mean? The man has been to space. There's nowhere else to go because he's not going to heaven. There's no more. You have enough money. I'm not even saying that as someone, look, I'll be honest with you, I'll be very honest with you right now. I would like to, in my lifetime, make a lot of money. I have no gripe with people who have a lot of money. It's only the way in which they make that money. That's all that ever bothers me when it does bother me. I usually don't care how much money anybody has. We're all on a different path. Some people are born with money. You can't help that. Some people make a lot of money through everyone wanting to buy their product. You can't help that. I'm not jealous of anybody. I want everybody to do well. It's just I look at the state of things, right? And there's no perfect system. I'm not saying I have the whole answer. The answer is you're gonna have to make less money. But like, I don't have an answer that they would like or implement, you know? I guess my thing is this: if we want to help the workers as much as possible, bodies get put on the line when they try to meet these goals, right? It's one of the things that they're protesting, one of the things that they're striking against, is that they have to put their bodies on the line to get things to us, the consumer, right? When we order, because for us, it's just a click. For them, it's their body, it's their livelihood, it's their life sometimes. And I think the only way to fix this, at least temporarily, is to bring back like
2013 Black Friday. Like, I think rather than putting it all on them, we got to get out in the streets and we got to start beating the ever-living shit out of each other for the products that we want that are supposedly on sale, right? Black Friday is a shell of itself, and it is unacceptable. Most of it happens online, which is disgusting, right? We need to get these prices down, and actually down. I don't mean the thing that like Walmart does sometimes where it's the same price and they put it back the next day and they made you think it was lower because of the day. I'm talking about actually marketably lower, right? And then we have to start training in August. Okay? We need to start practicing, maybe even with family. Bring the family. Let the family come early, all right? Throw some bows, right? Make sure that like grandma's shuffle is good when she's trying to get through people. Make sure that the youngest brother can really handle that offensive line that you're going to need to create to get to the register, all right? Make sure his tackle is good. And we need to get back in stores the way that it used to be. One of the problems is Amazon's too powerful. They wouldn't be too powerful if we started shopping again at the stores that we shopped at before Amazon, right? One of the other things is that, you know, that dopamine hit that you get when you buy the thing and then the thing comes the next day. I'm not saying you don't deserve your dopamine hits. I'm just saying it's a much stronger dopamine hit to knock the hell out of somebody for the TV that you want. This is America. You gotta earn your dopamine. Okay? The amount of strangers that we used to have, America used to come together to be divided for one day. Used to wrap that wrist around the throat of a neighbor. And you used to sink that choke in tight. A choke that would make John Jones proud. A choke that would mean that your family got to play the board game Sorry that night. Because you went in and you choked until you saw a little bit of blue. Just a touch. Just so you knew they wouldn't fight anymore, and then you let them go, and you didn't drop them. You're not a monster. You placed them down gently. It was the next person running up that stepped on their chest. It is the American way to build community through violence. Okay? We used to do it. We used to get in there. We used to make it messy. You know? You would have like, you'd have a couple scrapes, you didn't know where they came from. You know what I mean? You'd have a whole cut on your arm and you'd be like, huh, makes sense, but I don't know when it happened. No, but I don't know. I'm bad at giving gifts, but I hope that everyone striking for Amazon gets what they want for Christmas. Genuinely, I do. Like, I can tell I'm bad at giving gifts because all I can offer is jokes.
Not